We're back. We're doing another Q&A.
Yeah, I seem to just step in every few weeks for a Q&A. It's like, I'm back again for question and answer time. With me.
If you're new here, my husband is a pilot. We've been together since his training. Before COVID, he would be up at 4 or 5 a.m. and you'd be back by lunchtime. And it was the perfect job to have when you had a baby or a toddler, which we have now. We are parents. But oh, how the turntables. The tables have turned. And he is now flying long haul, and he spends a lot of his time home recovering from the jet lag, and our life is very different. So we're answering questions on all that. The pilot wife life reality. You guys sent over 100 questions on this on Instagram and on the community tab, so we're just going to answer as many as we can before it gets too dark. We're going to start in 1 minute. Just a really quick word from our sponsor first. POPSA. It is an app that makes it really easy and straightforward for you to make your own photo books in as little as 5 minutes. You can eternalize your 2021 memories, or you can do what I did and surprise a loved one. I have a surprise. It's wrapped up in this sash.
Oh. I wasn't expecting a surprise for me.
You were away on your trip over New Year's. I made 2 photo books for my husband on POPSA, and they send them out in these lovely gift boxes. One of these is sort of New Year's themed. It has loads of photos of our son in his first year of life. See?
Oh.
I'll show you guys this. I'm just covering up my son's name, but it's this gorgeous hardback book, and it even has details on the spine, so when it's on a bookshelf you can slot it out. But yeah, you can look through that. They're pictures of his first year of life, and
oh
yeah, they're so nice. Obviously I don't show my son online, but that's why I made a second one that I can show you guys. Me and you when it was just us two.
Just us two.
There's loads of different colours and stuff to choose from. I think we should make loads of these books for different things, you know. The idea with this one was really just to kind of capture a lot of our life together before our son came along and we became a trio. I did include those ones with him because they were our Halloween pictures.
Yeah.
I went with a kind of scrapbook style. This is a picture of us after our first kiss. This is when you gave me my engagement ring and made me walk into the ocean thinking I was doing a photo shoot for Instagram.
I'm always printing off photos and just having stacks and stacks of photos, because otherwise they just stay in your phone.
Yeah.
And then you lose your phone, or your phone dies, and then they all just vanish.
There's just something different about a physical copy of a photograph, like a memory. My nana passed away when I was 16, and she had this huge big box of memories, old photos in her house. My mum has a similar huge big box of photos, and Thomas's parents have photos hanging up all over the house, proper real photos. Yeah, nowadays people don't really go through the effort of, making those. It takes a lot of time, and POPSA is a really clever and easy to use app that does things for you. Yeah, if you would like to wrap up your 2021 memories, hopefully there were some good ones in there. I know it was a very hard year. If you want to pluck out the highlights and make a photo book.
Yeah. Highlights.
Or make a photo book of anything, really. You can get 30% off of POPSA. I have a custom discount code down in the description box with my link. Highly recommend. Gorgeous photo books. Happy loved one.
Yeah, this is deadly.
Look, it's our first car.
Yeah, and that's the tree we were going to live in Seville.
Yeah, that's why I was setting the camera up over there. We look back over here now. Yeah.
Okay.
We're back. So, Zuzia asked, does your son ever wonder or ask where his dad is, or is he still a bit young to realise? And Tradem.arc asked, are either of you scared baby Pan won't be very attached to dad?
Well, he definitely realises I'm gone somewhere.
Yeah.
But you were kind of saying when I'm gone,
he's fine.
He's fine, but it's the day I come back and he sees me. The past 3 trips I've done, he kind of has this realisation of
sad.
Where were you? So the first day I came home, he ran away from me, and subsequent days he hasn't run away, but he's just very leave me alone for the first couple of hours.
He's very intelligent. He played this ignoring game after the last trip. Remember, I was like, where's the door? Where's your hair? Where's the floor? Where's the light? Where's Dada? And then he wouldn't look at him. And then I was like, maybe he's, just pretended. But then he was kind of had this face on him. He was he knew he was there, but he was trying to hide his face. And then he checked to see if he noticed, because I did it again and again, and he just wouldn't look at him. He was trying to communicate. He was like, where did you go?
It was very sad. I was very upset.
Are either of you scared? I am. Like, because you've been so involved in his life since he was born. You know, Thomas was at home it was a very unnatural environment, though. He was at home for like nearly 2 years during my pregnancy and everything, because of lockdowns and just how COVID affected aviation. And you had the experience of a lifetime that a lot of dads don't get to have, you know? Like,
well, yeah, it was brilliant. I was basically home for like the entire pregnancy and the first year of his life, which was amazing. So this is like going back to normality is a big, it's weird, like it's a big jump. And
I think it would have been easier if we never had that in the first place.
Yeah.
Because it's just been so difficult.
Been spoiled.
Yes.
But no, yeah, like it's going to take an adjustment, because every time I come home, I basically have this "where were you" thing for a few hours, and then it's back to normal again. The only thing I can do is just be like 100% dad when I'm home and 100% pilot when I'm away, and hope that that's enough.
Sophie Irwin said, how do you keep in touch and let each other know what's going on day to day, especially with baby Pan? We just send a ton of videos back and forth and voice messages and have video calls.
Yeah, like it's 21st century now, so it's just
makes
like
it
loads
easier.
of videos, just spamming videos all day, and then we try and do a voice call at least once or twice on my trips too, and that definitely fills the gap, because to be lonely in the hotel rooms on my own.
Liu Han said, on one hand, I think it's exciting, especially for new pilots, to do long haul flights. Flying all over the world simply sounds cool. On the other hand, being away from family and staying alone in the hotels can become boring and draining. What's Thomas's opinion on the glorious, exciting part of the pilot life and the lonely side of it?
Like, I never really had much of a preference for doing long haul. I always thought I'd just stick with short haul and it'd be great. But a lot of pilots that I've flown with are definitely of the opinion that you should at least witness long haul. So you should at least do a couple of years on it just to gain the experience, because it's a very different type of flying. Yeah. And like it is very interesting, and I really do like the work side of it, even though like the flying through the night on the way home is draining. But yeah, like when I get to, like, I've noticed when I get to New York, like I'm in New York City and I'm like, wow. But the
first time you were terrified.
The biggest city I'd ever been was like Toronto that time when we went over.
Yes.
And that is nothing like New York. It's just mental. Like, I felt like an ant. It was weird walking around. Like, it was just, it was definitely, there's a lot of getting used to it.
It's a culture shock, definitely.
Yeah, because like I've been used to, for the past year, I've been at home all the time, in Skerries where there's nothing that big or crowded or anything.
Also, we're kind of outside of Skerries at the moment, so it's like big fields, open air, birds singing.
And now all of a sudden, like, I'm basically missing a night's sleep, and I'm in this totally foreign place in every sense of the word. Like, and it's incredible. And like, what I want to do is to basically make a list of like touristy things and kind of do touristy things as I go off, and like check off a list and take a photo in each place and stuff like that. But yeah, what I need to do is to just kind of work out a schedule of like when to sleep and when to eat that not only leaves me fresh and ready for work, but also I can fit in time for like touristy things. Because otherwise I'll do what I did on my last trip, which is live on dollar pizza and watch Harry Potter in the room for most of it.
I could have killed you. Like, if I was getting like to go to New York, and this is the thing, like I keep saying that to you, like if I was getting like a couple of full uninterrupted days without our son, I would literally just like do everything to make the most of it. But then you're so tired. You're always so tired that...
Yeah, I like my sleep. I do. I like my sleep. It's going to take some getting used to. It's going to be a great experience, and I'm really looking forward to it. And I do love it. I especially love the work part. And I know I will learn to love the other parts as well. Yeah. It's just right now it's a big shock being away from people and the sleep adjustments and that type of thing.
How do you find sleeping alone? Someone asked that, actually. If I can find that, I'll pop their name up here.
What I've been doing with that is, because with our son, we always have white noise on in the room to keep, like, it just helps him sleep. And do you remember when we first started using the white noise? It was giving me headaches.
You
Like, I hated it.
it.
But now what I'm doing is, when I'm in the hotel rooms, I've had white noise on, and it actually just knocks me out. Like, it really helps, because I have white noise at home and in the hotel. So it's very easy if I just knock all the lights off, just pretend I'm in the same bed. So.
Yeah. There were questions aimed at me around jealousy. I'll just read these out in a row. Bean said, do you worry about one day maybe getting trust issues? I know you've already talked about that saying, who wants to cheat can do whenever, but do you feel fears regarding this might get stronger when being apart from each other so often? Alice Heslin said, how do you handle worries, insecurities, intrusive thoughts surrounding pilot life, concerning mostly the tales around cheating being an issue with pilots and air hostesses? My best friend is an air hostess and has told me some stories. How do you keep so level-headed? Actually, yeah, no, those two were kind of the main ones about that.
Oh, he's off getting all with all these sexy cabin crew, just fucking, getting pissed and just fucking going on nights out in the Big Apple. And what actually will happen, I'm sitting with like a 16-inch pizza from the dollar store, watching the Half-Blood Prince for the second time, just like,
That's not sexy. Yeah, I'm not living out my days like, oh, he's shagging your one. But like I do have this weird like thing of just thinking that like I know you could, but I know you won't. For some reason that's hot to me, and I don't know why.
But that's why I was laughing, because it is the same with you, especially when we move out now. Like I'm going to be away for days at a time.
Yeah, I've told you that like one of my biggest what's the word? I suppose you'd call it a kink or whatever. It's like I like fantasizing about you with other people, but I would hate it to actually happen. Like it's a really weird. I think it's like a masochism thing. Like honestly, I think it's the reason I find it like a turn on is because it's so terrifying. I like that you are, out working and like talking to people and stuff like that, because it's like it's attractive in a way that like, if you're just at home all the time and we don't have much to talk about, like I think it's healthy. Like I do think it's unhealthy. It was unhealthy the way we were living during lockdown, because we were on top of each other 24/7. We had no mystery, we had no excitement. We were in our pajamas all day, like never going anywhere. We also like live with in-laws, so because we're just moving into our first house this month. Very exciting. I think it had its negative aspects for our relationship. I know it brought us very close in a way that like we probably never would have been brought that close together, because like I feel like we're even more like melded together now from it, and because we went through so much during all that, like first baby, all of your career worries and everything, but it definitely like took the spark out, if that makes sense. And I think this might help putting it back, because distance makes the heart grow fonder.
Well, yeah, because we were so stuck to each other all day. It was very like it took away a lot of the kind of conversations that come with talking about your day or talking about things that happened, because I witnessed all of it. I was there, so you can't just be like, oh, you'll never guess who I bumped into. No, I'd be like, yeah, I bumped into them too, I was right beside you. No, yeah, you're right, because like I'm able to go away now and like meet new people, because like there is the social aspect. Like me and the captain that I'm flying with will usually go out for dinner, and like sometimes the crew come and we have dinner with them as well, and there's this real team aspect of the whole trip. But in terms of like the cheating thing and all that.
Yeah, so that's what I wanted to get to, is that like we had our issues around this at the start of our relationship. I was so nervous about getting involved with a pilot, or someone who, I know you weren't a pilot then, but you wanted to be a pilot, because of all these like, I know they're like, well, they're not necessarily myths. Like obviously people hook up, but that happens in every job. Like
it's a stereotype that comes with the job.
Yes, that scared me.
But it's
to no end.
It's like stereotypes that come with any other job, But like if you were working in, like say for example, I was still working in construction, I could very simply go out the door one day and be like, I'm going to work, and then just not go into work.
I trust you But I didn't always trust him. And I know that if we didn't work on keeping our relationship strong, that temptation could arise and pull us apart. And that is just the case with any marriage. I think one of the things that keeps marriage exciting is knowing that your partner can fuck off if they want. So you have to, you know, keep your game strong, you know, work on it and build intimacy and like, you know, and we're going to have to work on that
it's
forever.
About keeping that thing there, but it's also nice to know that you know, if I arrive down if I come home and I just flop on the couch in my fucking dirty pajamas and I'm just watching telly, the Melanie won't come in and just be like, ugh.
The threat of other people shouldn't intimidate you, because like you have to trust who you're with, like you have to. And I did therapy. Thomas used to drop me off to this therapist in Rush down the road when I was having my really bad trust issues. Like, do you remember? Like, what would happen is I'd have a huge panic attack every time I got worried that he might, I don't know, meet someone else and decide, oh no, actually I'm not happy here and I want to leave. And I think it's because I thought it was too good to be true, because I thought I didn't deserve happiness. I thought I didn't deserve someone who treated me well and who respected me and who I was actually attracted to and all these things. And I was trying to sabotage the relationship because I was terrified. And I'm getting even like, my heart is even going like that, even just talking about it, because it used to like crumble me. And I feel like if I hadn't have done that therapy, right now we would be having blaring, like massive arguments after all of your trips. But we haven't even had a single cross
I
word.
noticed, because we were talking about, like, I was altering my own behaviour at who I would even talk to because I didn't want you to feel like that. But now, because we're so on the other side of that now, and we're both, because I it's not just that you trust me, but it's that I know that you trust me.
Yeah.
And then obviously I trust you as well. So like when I am away and the whole group are going out for dinner, I can just say yeah, and I can go and have a good time.
Because what helps is he tells me, though, like, you text me and you say, I'm going for dinner, this is who I'm going for dinner with, like, you tell me these things, and like that transparency and openness, you know, you're always very communicative about what you're doing. You know, and that just kills any kind of my brain filling in gaps. That's what my biggest problem was, because I used to, like, if you didn't tell me something, I would like paint in what actually happened, and it's just it was a toxic, awful trait from my past that like I had to really work on. And we haven't had any issues with conversations around jealousy or like anything like that since then, which was 3 years ago.
More?
No, probably. I know that there are, like, you know, because a lot of air hostesses marry pilots, so I know that like they it's a thing and stuff. But the way I figure, all I have control over is, you know, if I'm doing everything I can within my power to like keep our relationship happy and strong and to be a good partner, then if you do still meet someone and leave, that's not something that I could ever control. And not like, no, don't laugh, it's serious. Like this does happen. People meet people and fall in love or fall in lust and fuck things up, and like these things happen every day to everyone in every profession everywhere. You know people, you're related to people where they have broken up or divorced because of this. Like infidelity is huge. But I actually love what's her name? Esther Perel. I love the way she talks about this subject. I'll link I think it's a TED Talk or it's some talk she did about infidelity and stuff down below.
At the heart of an affair, you will often find a longing and a yearning for an emotional connection, for novelty, for freedom, for autonomy, for sexual intensity, a wish to recapture lost parts of ourselves, or an attempt to bring back vitality in the face of loss and tragedy. I've also told quite a few of my patients that if they could bring into their relationships 1/10 of the boldness, the imagination, and the verve that they put into their affairs, they probably would never need to see me.
I suppose some might argue certain professions will attract a certain type of person, but I don't think that if someone was like, I want to have a wife who I can cheat on, I'm going to spend 130,000 euro to train and be in student debt for many years. Like a lot of the people you tell me you fly with, like they're all married and have kids, and you know, it just seems like there's a lot of like
Well, yeah, it's all walks of life. Like, it's not like every cabin crew is like some supermodels,
Yeah.
like early 20s,
Who wants
single, and they all fancy me
Yeah.
because they absolutely should, you know.
And they're out to ruin a marriage. You can worry your life away, and I am not going to spend all of my precious time with my beautiful child panicking that Thomas is going to, like, you know, do something and then come
Plus,
home and tell
I
me.
guarantee you, whenever you have one of those thoughts, your phone will bing and it'll be a video from me, and it'll be just in the hotel
Yeah.
room, like, oh, the Goblet of Fire is on.
Yeah, Lorna Riley asked, do you ever feel jealous or left behind seeing your husband taking off to New York and getting quality alone time while you're stuck with the little one and working at home at the same time? And then Paul Stromberg said, do you get jealous that he gets to go around the world seeing places that you might never get to go? Well, he's always going to New York at the minute, and I've been there once and I loved it. But yes, if there was a jealousy, I do feel a little bit like I really miss traveling, and I really miss like having me time away from the like I do get like me time for an hour, but like, you know, I would love to have a day and a night, the odd time, like off, just exploring on my own. And I do, like, I told you that, like, I get really sad and I just like send him pictures being like, and I'm probably just going to start photoshopping myself
And I'm
into
just
the
like,
pictures he
here's
sends
a crap
me.
picture of the Chrysler building. Here's a really bad picture of me in Rockefeller Center.
Yeah, I find that's definitely hard, and I think with time that'll become more difficult. But, you know, I can go with him sometimes on trips. We just have so much going on right now that the idea of even trying to organise that is just like, no, with the moving and stuff. But I want to, like, this year definitely go with you on a trip or two. Like, it'd be really cool. Eleanor, I'm curious about this for Thomas part 2 actually. Do either of you feel the need to hold back from making any significant memories while you're apart? As in, is Thomas a little hesitant to do too much sightseeing because it isn't nearly as wonderful as it would be if you two were there? And are you hesitant to let anything too amazing happen with Pan so Thomas doesn't miss it? Like, her example was, no, we're not trying to say mama today. I'd say no to that. Like, I think it's just inevitable that things are going to happen when we're apart.
Oh yeah, like doing stuff like that is only going to make it 10 times harder.
Yeah.
Like, it's because I'll end up spending most of my time just kind of sitting around waiting to go home, which is something I'm really trying to avoid because I'll end up just going mad.
Yeah, you'll get depressed. Like Marina XO, have you found a way to still feel connected emotionally and sexually, or do you find now between the baby and his job that it's a lot harder to find those intimate moments? Yes, it's a lot harder. Dear God. It's just, even filming this video, it's been like a marathon trying to like...
Yeah, poor Paul's out there with the buggy just walking up and down, up and down.
Paul is my dad. Yes, and I don't know how and when it'll get easier. This just feels like life now. It's a constant race to get things done. Orgasms included. Debabos53, I'm not quite sure if this sentence is phrased correctly, but anyway, do you enjoy the days Thomas is gone because you have to deal with yourself, and if so, do you feel guilty for that? I don't get much time to really just be by myself on those days because of the baby toddler. I should call him a toddler. But yeah, I don't feel like I'm getting like quality me time at all. So like, I do kind of enjoy the silence a bit, I suppose. I don't feel guilty for it because we've been together solidly for 2 years. 2 years. Every day, 24/7. That's hard. Like, that's a lot. Even though we were like, we had fun during lockdown and stuff, but that was not sustainable.
Yeah, like it goes back to what we already covered as well. Like, it's nice to just have things to talk about and separate lives for portions
separate lives,
of the
yes. You need to be able to have like your own life, and then your partner has their own life, and then your lives slightly overlap, and you share this bit in the middle, and that keeps it juicy. But like, God, I would love a day just where it was just me.
You were literally saying that on the drive down. You were just like, I just want one night's sleep. Just me.
Yeah, I just want to like sprawl in a bed and not have millions of limbs taken off me. This is such an interesting question, okay? Emily Francis said, do you find yourself falling into traditional gender roles in parenting? Stay-at-home mum, and husband who goes out to work. Do you feel that in terms of feminism, or how do you feel about that in terms of feminism, etc.? Just curious. I've been on maternity leave for the last 7 months, so we're currently experiencing more traditional roles, but we'll go back to work full-time in March. It boggles my mind that women have been made to feel bad about, or like as if being a mother isn't, you know, like any effort, or I don't know, like you even said this yourself, that you find minding our son for a full day by yourself like as exhausting as work. Like a day, he used to be a builder, so you were saying before, do you remember, like it's a different type of exhaustion.
Yeah, like it's physically exhausting, obviously, because you're following them around all day and lifting and this and that. Not as far down as like fucking stacking blocks all day, but you know what I mean. There is a physical element to it, but then you're just mentally drained from just constantly new thing. So yeah, like it wears you down. Like,
and it has its own skills. It demands so much of you. I don't understand the attitude of like, you know, you don't count or you're not valuable to society unless you're absolutely killing yourself. It shouldn't be the case. And I'm not saying obviously women should be able to make the decision to work. Like I'm not stopping working. I started working quite soon after our son was born.
Yeah.
I do work part-time hours now, though. I used to do a lot more. I do less work so that I can, you know, not have to spend all my wages on a childminder. I'll definitely be getting a little bit of help when we move house, but I don't think me making that decision makes me any less of a feminist. You know what I mean? I don't think it's like, oh, you're more feminist if you have a full-time job and you're less feminist if you're a stay-at-home mom.
Well, there's a couple of points I make on this, like taking out like the gender of the person who is staying at home. Like we were watching some kind of a mini documentary, but it was basically talking about like what it takes to be a stay-at-home parent, and you have to have the skills of a full-time childminder, a full-time cleaner, a cook, you know, and then plus a taxi driver, a fucking everything. And they basically added it up, and they tallied up the amount of skills that you would need and the hours that you would do in a week, and it was like, it was equivalent to what they would expect. Minimum you should be paid like 55 grand a year or something like that to be if you were to be hired to be someone else's stay-at-home parent, you know. So there's a lot involved. Like being a stay-at-home parent is a valid job.
Also like during the pandemic, like I was, and no, not even just during the pandemic, but like up until now in our relationship, we're going to be together 5 years this year, and like I've been earning the majority of our money, and it's not been any kind like that general, I suppose, it hasn't like infected our marriage, or it hasn't affected how we are as man and woman together. Like it's not been a case that like that's made you feel, unless you've not told me this, that it's made you feel emasculated in any way, or
no, because it's just, I don't know, we've been very good at just trying to separate that, I suppose. But the other point I was going to make though is if you do feel that way, sometimes it's just forced upon you. Like I challenge anyone watching this video to look at the HR guidelines in whatever industry they're working in and look at how much maternity leave is offered and how much paternity leave is offered. And I would imagine not every industry, but a lot of industries, there's a big gap in the amount of paid leave and then unpaid leave that the mom gets, and then compared to the amount of paid leave and unpaid leave that the dad would get.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's just forced upon the parents. It's like, well, you will get way more time and money for staying at home than I will, so I better just stay in my job and you stay at home.
But I don't I don't have any bad feelings about the idea of me you know, working part-time and kind of being kind of a stay-at-home mother / homemaker. I don't look at that as like below working, you know, and I think we all need to stop seeing that as like less than.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, like what I was saying, the amount of skills that are involved, no, you're not getting that money into your bank account, but that bank money isn't being taken out of your bank account as well. Because what you could do is you could go back to work and pay a childminder and a cleaner and whoever else.
I heard that
you'll have money coming in and it'll go straight back out again.
Yeah, but I think that is it should still be an option, because some people don't want to be at home all day with kids. Like, some people would prefer to have their job, and they shouldn't feel guilty for that either.
Yeah, so look at me. I fucking love my job.
Yeah.
I'd be very depressed if I had to do that. I'd love to be at home with my son, and I've had that for the past year. But I was, during that time, I was very sad that I wasn't working.
Yeah.
And now I'm working, and I still feel sad that I'm not spending all the time with him. So it's double-edged sword.
Yeah, like, it is, like, I think if...
You have to just decide what your priorities are.
Work, like, part-time and have also, like, have enough time with their family and have enough time working, like, I think everyone would be very happy, but we're stuck with capitalism and we just have to deal with it. How do you explain or handle Thomas leaving to your son? My husband travels with work for 1 to 2 weeks at a time, and we have an 18-month-old who is starting to ask for daddy when he's away. I expect it's quite confusing for them at this age when daddy just disappears. Not that they leave without saying goodbye, but the 1-year-olds don't necessarily understand. Thomas does leave without saying goodbye because he has to leave really early in the morning for his commute to Manchester. So he flies out of Manchester.
I don't know, I haven't really thought about this that much, but I was half thinking, like, maybe I just would, even if I had the option, I think I could still just continue not saying goodbye. Because without the big, sad, emotional goodbye...
He wakes up and he's fine.
He doesn't notice
that
I'm gone.
Do you know what I've been doing? So he has a teddy bear that's a pilot, and I say, so he sees Thomas in the work uniform and gets a little bit frightened by the work uniform, you know, and you know when he sees it, he's like, ugh.
Yeah, he's like, why aren't you in your pajamas?
Yeah.
Why is your face so smooth? Why is it all stubbly and unkempt?
But yeah, with the pilot teddy bear, like, I say things like, daddy's gone to work, or like, daddy's coming home tomorrow, dad will be home. Like, I'm trying to say those things even though he has no idea what I'm saying, but I know that they learn language like this, like that. He already has picked up so many things, and he does understand what I'm saying half the time. Yeah. So I'm just saying these things to him in the hope that, like, eventually he'll understand them, you know? So I have no idea what to do. If anyone has any advice on that, let me know down below. JZ Wars Waskas asked how much harder parenting is, especially for you, Melanie, without day-to-day support when Thomas is at work, and what challenges it brings for Thomas, and how both of you cope with it. It's way harder. Just having someone else in the room even makes such a difference. Like, way harder. That's my answer. What challenges does it bring for you? Do you feel bad, or?
Well, yeah, of course I do. Like, we've already talked about that quite a bit, but it'd be very hard.
You help a lot when you're back.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
I come straight in the door, and even if I'm wrecked, I'm like, right, let's just do this and do this and do this, and I just try and, as I said, when I'm away, I'm pilot mode, and when I'm home, it's just straight into.
See, I don't get to do that. I have always had to work in and around it. So, like, that's what I find the biggest challenge is, like, not having that separation. You know, I am always, when I'm with him, I'm like, I should be working, I should be doing this thing. Like, right now, I have a few days to just go through my whole book, my next novel, Glass Houses. Pre-order down below. I have to go. I have to go through the whole thing for, like, last edits before it's printed into proof copies. And, like, you know, I'm just like, where am I going to get time for that? And then, just like my video list, and just like I'll let Instagram slide, and it's hard to juggle them, and I have to kind of do a lot of my work like when baby's asleep, or if he's with Thomas, which means we're spending less time together. Don't delete the XOs. Thomas, do you work with the same team on every flight, or is it different people? If it is different people every time, is it easy to make friends with your colleagues?
Well, it's easy to make friends with my colleagues because everyone is very nice where I work. But yeah, like, the friendship is like for the day usually, because no, you don't fly with the same people all the time. They actually try and mix things up with like pilots as much as possible, because it's more of a safety concern than anything else. During my studies, I read about it, and basically the thinking behind it is, if you're constantly flying with different people, then there will be less likely that you will, like, cut corners. You'll always do things exactly by the book, because you won't develop your own little way of doing things between the two of you, you know?
Mariu asks, is his internal clock messed up by all the flying?
Yes.
Iriana Aviv, what's the most frustrating part of your lifestyle? Not having the schedule very far in advance, I think. You know?
My internal clock being very messed up.
Non-bin Ari, is this something you could do for years, or has there to be an end date? at some point for you personally?
So the contract that I'm on at the moment is for 5 years. So I'm going to be sticking at the long haul for minimum 5 years. And then at the end of that...
there's like 4.5 left.
Well, there's about 4.5.
Counting down the days.
I think the short haul definitely fits my lifestyle a lot more. I'm not going to be rushing out the long haul because, as I said, there's a lot of aspects to it that I really, really do like. Yeah. But yeah, it's just the decision that I'll come to at the 5-year mark.
Oh, Lauren XG, how do you cope with not being able to always get in touch with each other for a while if one of you is working or if the time zones are different? What is it like adjusting to this change when you're around each other when Thomas is home? Yeah, so like the flights that he's doing is 7 hours. So that's like 7 hours that we can't get in contact. And I'm asleep anyway on his flight home. So it's just weird because we're used to talking all day about everything. And yeah, it's very strange. And I don't get a lot of time to like sit there texting now because it's just me with the baby, with our son. So it's really weird. Like, if something funny happens, I always just want to go, Thomas, you're not here. Okay. Tilly May Holland, do you crave a normal setup? I don't know. For me, normal would be literally what we were doing before the pandemic, which was like you were doing European flights and you were home really early. And I would like that. I would love that. But, you know, gotta roll with the punches.
So I crave a normal set. Well, when I read normal setup, I think like working 9 to 5, Monday to Friday with weekends off. And to be honest,
I wouldn't like that.
Sometimes I do romanticize that idea because I'm like, because a lot of my friends are in that kind of a thing and like they'd be organising stuff and they'd be like, oh, do you want to do something on Friday? And because me and Melanie don't work in a regular working week, we're like, what date is that?
It makes everything quite complicated to socialise, yeah. Like our socialising as of the past months has literally, we always just go for walks with different friends. You know, like we'll meet different people on different days for walks and we'll do a big lap and then that's the end of our hangout sesh. I'm
so pissed off for it.
Yeah.
I'm so hungover from that walk.
A.S. Macias, are there transferable skills from piloting to parenting? Cool head under pressure, etc.
That's actually a really good question. There probably is, yeah. You're definitely taught to think of things very, very logically. Which helps, I think. Well, actually, number one, you get first aid training and training in CPR and baby CPR and toddler and like kid CPR and stuff like that. So that's fucking brilliant to have because doing a course like that costs a lot of money. So number one, very good life-saving skills. And then also just like you're trained to think of things just very, very logically, which does help once again in emergencies and that type of thing.
Because I'm a fucking nightmare. If he's like chewing something and he kind of goes, I'm like,
yeah, I get more of a fright than he does.
The same person said, have you picked up on aviation knowledge skills via osmosis from Thomas? Like, could you take over the pilot in an emergency situation? Definitely not. When he starts talking about the actual flying, like, it's like my eyes just fucking
they just glaze over. And then you're just like, look, I don't know what you're talking. Like, what are you talking about?
It's like you trying to listen to me going on about editing a YouTube video. It's so boring. Like,
well, usually it's Thomas, this won't work. Like, I don't know what. Everything is red, and it just won't do the thing that it normally does.
Oh, someone said Liberty Claire 93. Genuinely, how do you cope being apart, particularly at night time? I have major separation anxiety since the pandemic, and now get very anxious when we're apart. Now the world is opening up, and often can't sleep. I do find it very hard to fall asleep. Being honest, like I'm used to your presence, so I kind of like takes me a lot longer to fall asleep. I don't have separation anxiety anymore. Thank God. I used to have that so bad with my dad, really bad after he had a heart attack. I was like, I just couldn't handle being in the different room even. I don't have that. I think it's because I can't, because of the child. I think I'm just like, I just have to snap into like, right, everything's fine, and I have to be like, you know, I have to be mom and dad, and I have to take on your logical side, you know, and I have to be really like, and calm. Well, I wear his clothes a lot, and I spray his spray on them when he's gone. I
just knock all the lights off and have the white noise on, and it's
convinces you.
It's enough to get me asleep. But yeah, like anyone who knows, like Melanie knows, like when I lie down to go to sleep at home, I literally just go, and I'm gone.
Oh, he's such a bastard.
But it takes a while tossing and turning when I'm away, so it's funny like that.
But yeah, I think the pandemic has brought anxiety on a lot of people with stuff like that. Yeah, I'd say like do things to kind of almost trick your brain into thinking they're there. Like for me, it's like having his cologne or his scent around me, and the white noise, like anything that's in a sleep association with the person. Oh, this is really cute. Look, Eliza name Defee. A good trick we have when my husband is working out of town is to pack my son's favourite bedtime story and he reads it over FaceTime.
Oh,
so
that's a really good idea.
And do it. That's so nice. Thank you for sending that.
That's a deadly idea, yeah.
So yeah, it's very dark outside and our son has been with his granddad for a very long time, so we're going to go down to him. I hope you enjoyed this video, and do please check out POPSA if you ever want to create a photo book. It's really, really fast and easy to use. It's a lovely gift idea, and I have the 30% off discount down below as well. Please send it to anyone who you know who might enjoy something like that. And we're gonna go. We will be in our new house soon, so make sure you click the bell and stuff if you want to see videos about our new house and renovation projects. And thanks to Thomas for sharing his insight on life as a pilot husband.
Yeah, I've aid all of your cues, and I bid you
adieu.
Adieu.
Goodbye, goodbye, good friends, goodbye. And now it's time to go.
But hey, I say, that's okay.